Today we are going to be making the best, if not the only, homemade caramel frosting recipe that you will need in this lifetime. The color is so beautiful. It is so silky. It is rich and it is decadent. You hear me? Decadent. Let's do it. All right, so the first thing, this is the most important thing, is going to be the pan. It has to be a stainless steel pan. I have tried many other pans. It will not work. Do not use nonstick. Do not use anything else but stainless steel. It needs to be a thick, high quality pan. Okay, so we are going to use carnation milk, the whole fat milk. Do not use 2%. Have to use the whole fat. I'm going to use 2 cans. Now you can, depending on how the volume that you need, you can double, triple, or quadruple this recipe if needed. I am doing a double bunch, but I'm actually going to have extra, so you'll see. But to the pan, we are using 2 cans of the carnation whole evaporated milk. We're also going to add 2 sticks of butter. Now, I am using the salted butter. I think if you like salted caramel, you'll enjoy this. If you don't like salted caramel, then just use the unsalted. To that, we are going to add 2 cups of sugar, 2 full cups of sugar. And we're going to cook this on low because this is going to take some time. I have tried to rush the process because it is so time consuming and my caramel will get really hard, tight, gritty. It's just not worth it. So if you do not have the time, don't even get started with this, seriously. So we are going to put all of our ingredients in our pot. You're going to cook this on low. We have an electric stove, so this was about maybe like at a 2, between 1.5 and a 2. And you're just going to let this cook on low. I want to say total it took about 2.5 hours. Now towards the end you can speed it up. No, don't speed it up. I don't even want you to mess it up. I want you to be able to do this without any issue, so go slow is best. So I want to say I stirred this maybe every 10 minutes or so, but I'll show you as time goes on how it progresses, but please go slow. We're starting at 11:51 and I'm going to show you how this moves along. So once you are in the process, you'll start to see little bubbles form and things like that. You're just going to continue to whisk. Maybe whisk for about 30 to 45 seconds in between your increments. And there we go. 12:07. You can see that we are starting to pick up a little bit of color. But don't let that fool you. I'm telling you, it's going to take some time. So I'll just let you watch the process and then we'll move on to the cake. So at this point, we were about 2 hours into the process, and you can see that the mixture is getting thick. The bubbles are getting kind of foamy. You can see that the caramel is starting to stick to the side of the pan. But guys, be careful because this is the stage where you can burn your caramel because it's almost done. So you really want to probably start whisking this every 1 to 2 minutes. Don't let this go for 10 minutes because it will get stuck and you will get those little brown burnt bits in your caramel and it's horrible. So let's get started on our cake. We're just going to do a basic We're going to do a basic cream cheese pound cake. You can use this on a layer cake. You can use this on cupcakes. You can pretty much use this for anything that you would want to have your caramel on. But I'm just going to do a basic cream cheese pound cake. For my pound cake, I am starting with 3 sticks of butter. I'm also going to add in some cream cheese and sugar, and we're going to whisk that for about 10 minutes until it's nice and fluffy. Make sure that you are using softened cream cheese as well. So while the cream cheese, sugar, and butter are mixing, I'm going to go ahead and sift my flour. Again, you guys know I am now in the South, so I'm doing as they do in the South. And they like their white lily. So I'm using my white lily light baking flour. I'm going to sift 3 cups into my container. I know they have better sifters, but you know what? Sometimes you got to use what's on hand. And this is what I had. It works just fine. So go ahead and you're going to sift out 3 cups of flour. And then to prepare my pound cake pan, I'm going to go ahead and take some softened butter and just spread it all around my pan. I'm going to say this. I used to just only use butter and it did not work. So if you have a problem with your cake sticking to your pan, try this instead. I use the butter and then I put a little bit of nonstick cooking spray, and then I go ahead and I coat it with some flour. I'm using the same flour that we use for the cake just to keep everything consistent. And make sure that you get that middle part, because that is the one part you definitely do not want to stick. You can always take a knife and go around the edge of the pan, but that middle part, make sure you get that part nice and coated. Okay, so I was multitasking. You can see the caramel is starting to come together. Look at that beautiful color. We are almost done. Look at that. This is what we want to see. This is what we want. Okay, now let's get back to the cake. So once you have finished mixing up your butter, your sugar, and your cream cheese, we are going to add in 6 eggs, 1 at a time. Please crack your eggs ahead of time. I know most people know this, but some people don't. So if you already knew this, don't worry about it. But you know, if you're just starting to make cakes, make sure you crack them in a separate bowl, because I have tried to crack eggs in my mixture and definitely got shell in it, and that's horrible. So crack them on the side in another bowl, and then just go ahead and add them 1 at a time. You're going to mix maybe about 30 to 40 seconds in between each egg addition, and then you're going to continue that process until everything is incorporated. Okay, so once your eggs are nice and incorporated, it's going to be nice and fluffy. From this stage, we're going to go ahead and put the mixture on a medium setting, and we are going to add 2 tablespoons of vanilla. Once you add your vanilla in there, you want to go ahead and give it another mix until everything is nice and smooth. Okay, so at this point, our caramel is pretty much done. As you can see, when the bubbles pop, you can still see the position that they were in the frosting because it's holding shape. You can see the caramel was sticking on the side, and this is the color that we're looking for. You're going to go ahead and give that a few more little flip of the wrist with your whisk, and then you're going to set it to the side to let it cool. You see how the bubbles are still popping up, they're thick. That's what we're looking for. Okay, now we're going to add our flour. You're going to put your mixer on the lowest setting, and you're going to slowly start to add your flour. You don't want to overmix, but go ahead and start adding your flour a little bit at a time. Okay, once all of your flour is added, you want to go and scrape the bowl, scrape the attachment, and you're going to put this on the medium setting, and you're going to let it go for about 30 seconds, and then slowly lift up your attachment out of the bowl so that you can get your mixture to fall off. And then I like to take my spatula spoon and just kind of scrape the bottom of the bowl, because sometimes with these standing mixers, you can have a little bit of the flour that will stick to the bottom. So just go ahead and make sure that you give that a good mix, kind of like folding it in. We don't want to change the texture of the batter, but just kind of fold in and look for any bumps or lumps or missing flour. Okay, then you're going to go ahead and add it in your pan. I baked mine for 1 hour and 10 minutes on 325, and look how beautiful and golden she is. Yes, yes. Okay, so by this time, our caramel has been sitting for about 1 hour, and look how the texture is coming together. It's nice and thick. At this point, we're going to add our vanilla. You can add 1 or 2 teaspoons. I added like 1.5, but just try 1, and if you want a little bit more, add, start off with half increments, but no more than 2 for sure, not for this amount. But go ahead and whisk that up, and we're going to continue to let that cool before we frost our cake. Ooh, baby, look at that close up. Look at that caramel. Look how silky. Look how smooth. Oh, guys, I'm telling you, you have to make this caramel. It is so good. Look how silky that is. And it's just going to get more thick as it sits. But the good thing, it's never going to get hard, ever. It is still going to remain soft to the touch. You literally can put your finger in any... Well, let me stop. Just look how pretty and smooth it is. Okay, so at this point, our cake has been sitting for about 1.5 hours, guys. We couldn't take it anymore. And y'all know from my last cake, we try to let it cool all the way down, but sometimes that's just not an option. We had dinner and we were ready for dessert. So I went ahead and got my frosting on my cake. You can see how it is holding up. Now, the cake is still a little bit warm, so some of the frosting is kind of getting into the inside of the cake, but I don't mind that because I love cutting into my cake and picking up a nice big old lump of caramel. But yeah, you can frost this. Like I said, you can use this on a layer cake. I'm using this on a pound cake today. You could use it on your cupcakes, but look at that beauty. Guys, so good, so rich, so decadent. But yes, look at that little inside caramel that's just dripping all, and the frosting and coating the inside of that cake. Delicious. All right, so after a few minutes of taking a few pictures, I went ahead and I decided to cut it, but you can see how the caramel is still firm. It's not falling apart. It's so soft. Like literally, I want to say maybe like peanut butter, but maybe a little bit thicker. But there is our cake. And I did not use all of my frosting because, like I said, I doubled the batch, but I wanted to have extra for later because sometimes we like to put it on other things. But this is how much I had left. If you want to do half the recipe, you can. All right, and then here's another way you can use it. I had some ice cream. I put some of that caramel in the microwave for about 8 seconds. Made my own hot caramel sundae. McDonald's who? Your ice cream machine down? Oh, well, baby, I'm good.